Is Dante Scarnecchia returning to the Patriots? Here's what Greg Bedard wrote. I know a lot of people have tweeted me. I know a lot of people have super chatted. They've commented during these podcasts about Scarnecchia, bring Scarnecchia back. Every time there's an offensive line problem, they need Dante back. Here's what Greg Bedard wrote. As you like, comment, and subscribe as you watch and listen and go back and forth with people in the chat. Here's what Bedard wrote about Scarnecchia. 3 league sources said, don't be surprised if Dante Scarnecchia, who has remained close to McDaniels and Vrabel, is around at times on a very informal basis to assist with whatever McDaniels and Vrabel might need, if they even need anything. Scarnecchia also knows Doug Marrone very well. Since the Patriots are going back to the old system, it wouldn't be a surprise if Scarnecchia is brought in from time to time to help the transition. So Dante Scarnecchia, it would not be a surprise, according to 3 sources, if he showed his face around Foxborough. Now, this is not to say that Scarnecchia is going to be a full-time member of the staff. It's not to say that 75, 76, 77-year-old Scarnecchia is going to be, living in the facility and around constantly. But here's how I look at this. Any Dante Scarnecchia is a very good thing, right? Even if Dante is going to show up a couple times a month, it's a couple more times than he was showing up last year, the last couple of years. So anytime you can have Dante Scarnecchia in the building, working with the coaching staff, working with the offensive line, to me is a win. I don't care, full-time, part-time, hardly ever around time. If he's there and he's working within the program, I feel very good about that. I'll give you an example. Let's say that Scarnecchia comes in over the next couple of months a handful of times to look at certain prospects. They have the scouting reports on the tackles. They got scouting reports on offensive linemen. Let's say if Dante walks in, they schedule a couple of times every couple of weeks that Dante comes in. He spends that time with Doug Marrone, and he sits back and he works with Jason Hotaling, who is the assistant offensive line coach. He works with Hotaling. He works with Marrone. And he says, this is what I think about this prospect, right? The Patriots, for example, let's say they're looking at Will Campbell at number 4. Let's just hypothetically say it. I know some of you don't want that. Let's just say hypothetically for this conversation, the Patriots are looking at Will Campbell, tackle, some say guard, LSU, right? Let's say the Patriots are looking at him to be the 4th pick in the draft. It doesn't hurt to bring in Scarnecchia and have Scarnecchia watch some film on Will Campbell along with Marrone and Hotaling. And then Scarnecchia says, I think this guy could be a tackle. And then Marrone says, I think he could be a tackle. Then you feel much better about Will Campbell being your left tackle for the next decade, right? So Dante can help with the scouting process, the drafting process, watching film, right? He can assist with technique, camp starts. He can show up once a week, once every couple weeks, whatever it is. Again, he can show up and he can work with some of the young offensive linemen. As long as Marrone and Hotaling don't have an issue with Scarnecchia coming in and working with some of these guys, it makes all the sense in the world. Why would you not? Why would you not take advantage of that? If you're going through certain blocking concepts, right? Because of the offensive transition, it's much easier for Scarnecchia to come into the program and help young offensive linemen like Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson learn the new offense that they're going to be running, some of the new concepts. And it makes a lot of sense, right? The blocking concepts, assist the younger guys, help scout, all of those things. The prevailing philosophy this offseason with this coaching staff, and this is why I think from a 30,000-foot view, again, look, this might all fail. Downing might be a miserable wide receivers coach. Marrone might be past his time, et cetera, et cetera. But here's what I love what the Patriots are doing this offseason. The philosophy, it seems to me, is just get as many bright and top minds together. Get as many smart people together as you can with this offensive staff. So Doug Marrone has coached forever, offensive line guy, highly respected, big-time reputation throughout the game. I know some will push back and say he hasn't developed many guys, and there are some questions about Marrone. But I go with how people feel in the game, and people in the game feel like Doug Marrone is one of the better offensive line coaches the past couple decades. So you've got Marrone in the room, you've got Thomas Brown in the room, you've got Scarnecchia every once in a while to bounce things off of. You've got all of these different coaches that have had different levels of experiences, and you're just looking to surround Josh McDaniels with the best and the brightest. I think that's a good plan. Personalities have to work out. McDaniels has to do a good job of, again, keeping everybody on the same page. But as far as approaching it that way, get McDaniels, surround him with some of the best you can surround him with, the best and the brightest, and that should help your offensive staff. I mean, just looking at the offensive line, think about the offensive line coaches we've had. Scott Peters was a first-time offensive line coach, right? You go back to Matt Patricia in 2022. Never an offensive line coach. Adrian Clem, before he got sick, mixed results. This offensive line room is going to have Doug Marrone, Jason Hotailing as his assistant, and from time to time they can bring in Dante Scarnecchia. I mean, compare that offensive line coaching room to what we've seen the past few years. It's not even close. It's not even close. I also think that Dante Scarnecchia wanting to be involved speaks volumes about McDaniels and Vrabel. Scarnecchia has been around for a long time, man. He has been around a lot of coaches. He's coached with a lot of different guys. He understands who's good, who's not good. And he speaks very highly, which we'll get to in a minute. He spoke very highly of McDaniels over the weekend to Mike Reese. Dante Scarnecchia is a big believer in Josh McDaniels. Feels like he's a brilliant offensive coordinator. Scarnecchia also believes in Mike Vrabel. Believes he's a good head coach, if not very good head coach. Dante Scarnecchia is not deciding to pop in every once in a while if that's what he does. He doesn't decide to pop in every once in a while at the age of 76, 77 years old unless it's worth his time. And what makes it worth his time is that he believes in this coaching staff. He believes in McDaniels. He believes in Vrabel. We didn't hear anything about Dante last year with Gerard Mayo, right? With all due respect to Gerard Mayo, didn't seem like Dante Scarnecchia was even entertaining the idea of popping in every once in a while. So it'll be interesting to watch how all of that comes together.